Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Morton Klein is Mr. ZOA. That is the group that I decided to join. I actually quit one group, hopped on with ZOA. You guys know Morton, been on this show a bunch of times. Actually, they had me bestowed a big honor upon me at their annual dinner a couple of months ago. I awarded Ophir Okunis, the Israeli consul here in New York, with this gorgeous award. So Morton Klein is one of the most influential, there's that word again, Jewish voices in the country, and ZOA for me is the best group in the world. Here's my friend Morton Klein. Morton, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning. It's great to be with you, and people want to learn more about what we do and say, ZOA.org. But it's great to be with you this morning.
Thank you, Morton. ZOA.org. Why don't you give the listeners kind of a Monarch Note version, just a quick 60-second to 90-second version of exactly what ZOA does or looks to do every day.
We're the oldest pro-Israel group in America. We're the only major nonpartisan, right-of-center pro-Israel group in America. We have filed more lawsuits to benefit college students who've been discriminated against and harassed on college campuses under Title VI. We have full-time lobbyists on Capitol Hill. We were the major force which got the legislation passed to move the embassy to Jerusalem. And we're on 60 campuses teaching kids the truth of the Arab-Islamic war against Israel and the West and how to defend themselves. So that in a nutshell are among the things that we do.
That's a lot. I did one of our events. You know who showed up? Ron Teresian. He's a guy, of course, that works with Beitar. I know you know this, but I guess sometime last year, Beitar kind of pulled out of New York because the Attorney General, Letitia James, and the Mayor, Mamdani, started threatening that they would be expelled, basically kicked out of doing any of their work here in New York. And I don't care if you like Ronnie, don't like Ronnie. I don't care if you like Beitar or don't like Beitar. But is it a surprise to you, Morton, that the mayor specifically, even more than the AG, had no issue banning, if you will, kicking out a Jewish group, when in the meantime you've got pro-Hamas groups walking up and down the streets all the time in this city, blocking synagogues, terrorizing Jews. Still to this day, just last week, a rabbi got punched across the face. That guy slammed his car into the Chabad 5 or 6 times. I don't see any of these radical Islam Muslim groups getting banned in New York City, but they banned Beitar. That had to piss you off.
Well, it really shows his extraordinary hostility to Jews and the Jewish state. For example, he says he will not participate in the Israel Day Parade because he says Israel exists with a system of hierarchy on the basis of race or religion. But Pakistan, he marches in the Pakistan parade, and they have a formal state religion is Islam. The religious minorities are persecuted by the state. Christians are persecuted, and he marches in their parade. And he never says anything negative about Saudi Arabia, Iran, Syria, Iraq. They really have a system of hierarchy in the base of race. They will allow Jews to really live there. So clearly, he's got a serious problem with Jewish people. It is racism. It is anti-Semitism. In fact, the first thing, Sid, that he did as mayor is he got rid of the official executive order supporting the International Holocaust definition of anti-Semitism. He got rid of it. Now, why did he get rid of that definition? As if it's a big deal for New York City residents. Because by that definition, Mamdani is anti-Semitic. That definition says if you justify or call for killing of Jews, that's anti-Semitism. He won't condemn globalize the Intifada chants, which call for the murder of Jews. The definition says if you deny Israel as a Jewish state, it's anti-Semitism. He says he will not support that Israel is a Jewish state. The definition says that you can't compare Israel to Nazis. He says that comparison is just criticism of Israel. So by that definition, he is anti-Semitic, and that's why the first thing he did was got rid of that definition. It's very, very disappointing, especially to me, not only as a Jew, but as a child of Holocaust survivors who has lost most of my family to hatred and to the Holocaust. It really frightens me to see a mayor taking this sort of action and many, many other actions.
No argument for me. Last Tuesday, in fact, the day that I celebrated my 10-year anniversary here 6 days ago, that was Holocaust Remembrance Day. And as you know, Morton, President Trump appointed me and our friend Siggy Flicker, also at ZOA, as one of the Holocaust Memorial Museum Council members. And just a huge honor. I was sworn in by Ted Cruz, who will join me on this program this week, back in December. So I'm with you on Mamdani. But he did say a couple times last week, whether it was the Chabad case or the Rabbi case, he says, standing there with Jessica Tisch, who I love dearly, who happens to be Jewish, or a police commissioner, he says that he will not tolerate any negative activity, any beatings, anything like that against the Jewish people. When he says that, I guess you're like me, you don't believe him, do you?
Look, it is the fact that the mayor will not condemn the constant phrase in these rallies, globalize the Intifada. The Intifada is terrorism and murder of Jewish people, and he won't condemn it. That encourages these types of actions. In fact, when asked to condemn it, he says, well, I'll discourage it. Discourage it? If somebody says to me, what do you think about the Ku Klux Klan calling for the murder of every black? Would I say I discourage them saying that? I would say I condemn it and will arrest these people. We will not tolerate it. No, it is his actions, his words, where he says that Zionism is racism is simply criticism of Israel. Zionism is a genocidal ideology is just criticism of Israel. Zionists are worse than Nazis is just criticism of Israel. It is these types of words and these types of statements that he makes that encourages the types of actions against Jews and against synagogues and against 770. So no, he is not off the hook. I want him to condemn Hamas by name and say we will not tolerate the use of language like globalized intifada. He won't do it, and that is what encourages these people. So I am deeply disappointed in this mayor.
And I know you don't live here. I think you live in Philadelphia, but we just had a major snowstorm. The mayor had an opportunity to shut critics like me up here. But as it turns out, Morton, not funny, we've got 14 dead people dead in this city. We have ice and snow piled about 10 feet high, blocking bus stops, blocking ambulances from getting down certain blocks for people that are literally dying. I mean, you couldn't do a worse job than this mayor did in his first real crisis, a major snowstorm in New York City. He had plenty of warning. I mean, we knew we got hotel rooms in the city days before, and in the end, it was a failure. You may give him a C, a D, but he ain't getting an A or a B, I can tell you that. So right off the bat, forget about the Jews and anti-Semitism. We know about that already. A real city crisis, Morton Klein, and the mayor failed miserably.
Look, I think he's 34 years old. He has no managerial, management, or executive experience. And so, I'm really not surprised. This is not the man's background. He's never dealt with such things. And, New York elected a mayor without the background to know how to be mayor. And this is the first example showing that he doesn't really have the background, the competence necessary to do the things a mayor has got to do. And by the way, another troubling thing, besides the statements that I made about the initiatives he's already enacted, personnel is policy. Listen to some of the people he's appointed. C. Weaver, she's appointed CEA, C. Weaver, as a top housing official. She says that home ownership is a weapon of white supremacy. She says property should be a collective good. People should not personally own property. Mamdani and she has said we're going to seize private property and seize the means of production. This is the types of people he has put into his cabinet. And Ramsey Kassem, listen to this guy. He's the New York City chief counsel who helps control city policy, legislation, direction. He's been a lawyer for the al-Qaeda terrorists who want to destroy America. He's been a lawyer for the bomber of the French oil tankers. He's been a lawyer for Mahmoud Khalil, an Algerian, Palestinian, Colombia pro-Hamas guy who was leading rallies against Jews and in favor of Hamas supporters at Columbia University. He has said law enforcement that Muslims should not be talking to law enforcement, FBI, and help them in their work against terrorism. These are the types of people he's appointing, and many, many more. Kamar Samuels, the school chancellor he appointed, he wants to dismantle gifted and talented programs, and he is already putting together school mergers to racially integrate different schools. He says there shouldn't be gifted and talented programs because they're racist. Well, if they're racist, Sid, why are a disproportionate number of people in those programs Asians and Indians, non-whites?
Yeah.
This is nonsense.
Listen to this podcast now
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.